2004, I was working in Paris reporting on big demonstrations against French plans to ban the Muslim headscarf in schools and public buildings. Since then, the official drive to outlaw the hijab has gathered pace. Multiple mass casualty attacks by Islamists have sharpened the political debate in a country which prides itself on its secularism. French politicians are currently debating plans to ban the hijab for everyone under 18. But it's in German workplaces where the law and the hijab are coming into sharpest conflict. And two disputes involving employees in Germany have now found their way into Europe's highest court. This week, the European Court of Justice in Luxembourg ruled that businesses can sack Muslim women wearing headscarves if they work face-to-face with customers or if the wearing of the religious clothing causes discord amongst other staff. The ruling is binding on all 27 EU countries, though not post-Brexit Britain. It came to this because of two cases, both involving Muslim German women. When both were hired, they didn't wear headscarves, but after coming back to work having had children, they did. One worked in a customer-facing role as a supermarket cashier, the other as a carer with special needs kids. In both cases, they were told to remove their hijabs or face suspension. The court has effectively now said their bosses were right. Well, with us now to discuss this ruling, Yasmin Mohammed, president of human rights organisation Free Hearts, Free Minds, and the author of Unveiled, How Western Liberals Empower Radical Islam, and Imam Ajmal Masroor. Thanks very much to both of you for taking the time to talk to us this evening. Imam, may I start with you, and if you can just explain, in terms of the Quranic tradition, why the hijab is required?
Muslims believe... By the way, good afternoon. Sorry, I slightly been busy with lots of work, and it's a fantastic day to be discussing these issues in of course, European courts that have been ruled that they can. In Islam, as far as Islam is concerned, a Muslim man and Muslim woman are required to wear modest clothes. Part of modesty for a woman, as defined in the Quran, is to cover her hair if that's what she wants and if that's what she wishes. Nobody has the right to enforce it. Where we have a problem is that the court here is now almost allowing employers to forcefully ask the employees to take them off. That contradicts the very basic rights for which we've been fighting in every front, for equalities and rights for everyone. So if a Muslim woman wants to wear a headscarf, it's a choice she should have the right to. If a Christian woman wants to wear one, or a Jewish woman or a man for that matter wishes to wear clothes that symbolizes their religion, I think we should welcome that.
And does that characterisation of the situation, is it one you recognise, that idea of the hijab being wholly optional for Muslim women?
Is that to me?
It's for Yasmin.
Actually, that's not at all the way it is in reality. I mean, if you just look at Iran, for example, women are in prison right now for taking off their hijab. So the idea that, you know, it's a woman's choice to wear it or not wear it, it's entirely up to her, is some fantasy world that I don't live in. I live in a world where women are imprisoned, where women are attacked with acid, where women are killed. Here in my country, in Canada, women have been killed over the hijab, young girls. So, you know, it's not just a benign piece of clothing. This is a piece of clothing that, you know, it's a misogynist tool of rape culture. It encourages victim blaming. It encourages slut shaming. And it's a way of controlling women.
I mean, those are strong charges, Imam. I wonder if you respond to them. The hijab is a means of control and misogyny.
Firstly, Iran has been cited as an example. I wholeheartedly condemn Iran's clerical dominated rule. It's a theocracy. I don't recognize it as Islamic. It is Ayatollah-led, has nothing to do with real choices of people. So Iran is a very bad example, just like Saudi Arabia is even worse as an example. Both of them violate human rights at its worst possible manifestation you can think of. They're not Islamic. They don't represent Islam for me, for certainly. And I believe billions of Muslims would echo my voice. Second point about hijab is a tool for misogyny and control. I'm really sorry, Yasmin. I don't recognize that from Islamic perspective, from the Quranic perspective. There are people who are bad. There are people who are good. We get all sorts of people in all societies. If men have used, and I know men of faith and no faith have used all sorts of tools to control women, that's wrong, horribly wrong. And I'm one of those who speak from my pulpit very loudly and clearly. I run an organization promoting values of man and woman so that they can have a healthy relationship. So I am with you when we condemn misogyny and control, but Islam isn't misogynistic, nor is it controlling anybody. It gives a choice. You can even reject God if you don't want to.
Okay.
If you embrace Islam, then you accept the choice of Islam, and then you follow the rules. And if you don't want to follow the rules, Islam is not for anybody. They don't have to accept Islam at all.
Yasmin,
there's a verse in the Quran which says that very clearly.
Sorry,
So
Imam.
it's not a
Let me just bring in
reality.
let me just bring in Yasmin here. I just wonder tactically, Yasmin, whether you feel it's helpful to your position, your cause, that the state in France especially, but Germany also, now the European courts are getting involved to this degree, and whether they run the risk of making wearing the hijab, which is seen as traditional garb by, I'm sure you see it as traditional and worse than traditional in some respects, but it becomes transgressive and countercultural. Give it to the big man, give it to the state, and it's top-down authoritarianism by wearing one, and that's probably unhelpful to your cause.
I agree with you, Colin. It is unhelpful, but as you mentioned, this, France is a country that values itself on secularism. So if what you are suggesting right now, which is that there is a hijab ban, then I would agree with you. I would say, yes, that's unhelpful. But let's be honest about the conversation that we're having here. This is not about a hijab ban at all. This is about a ban on all religious and political objects, any political or religious symbols. And that is to protect secularism. That is to protect a separation of religion and state. So as the Imam mentioned, Iran is a bad example of, of a country in general, because they are a theocratic regime, because they do not separate religion and state. So that's exactly what the EU is trying to do here, and I wholeheartedly support it. We had a similar issue in Canada with Bill 21 in Quebec, where they also banned any religious outward symbols in public jobs, and I completely support that as well. As somebody who's going to a public space for support from the government, you don't want to be feeling uncomfortable that the person who's helping you, or that the person that you're hoping will help you, is somebody who follows a religion that perhaps calls for your execution. Okay. That would make somebody very uncomfortable. So secularism is about making everybody feel comfortable.
Yasmin Mohammed and Ajmal Masroor, Imam, thanks very much indeed. Thanks for your time.
Welcome to the GB News YouTube channel. You can watch us live 24 hours a day, catch up on your favourite shows, and join in the conversation in the comments below.
Don't forget to subscribe and you'll never miss any of our exclusive content.